guys, it's Dr. Carmen Bryant. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you guys to all the new subscribers that have come on, and thank you for all the comments. And those of you that got something negative to say, you know, I clap back. So listen, today I wanted to talk about the importance of self-talk. You know, that's why you have like mental health counseling, therapy. You know, these are considered in most Eastern cultures called talk therapy. So it's talk therapy, you know, because talking and really you're imparting information into another person, or even talking yourself. When you start talking things out, you can hear, sometimes you hear your own self talking. You like, that's the whole purpose of counseling too, is to let you hear yourself talk, ask questions and then hear yourself talk. And a lot of times you'll answer your own questions. And so, you know, the importance of self-talk is this. One of the things that I realize is first of all, and I'm gonna talk about that in another video, is re-victimization. You know, a person that's coming out of domestic violence, and keep in mind, you know, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And so though we talk about narcissist abuse is domestic violence. It just so happens that it's perpetrated by someone that potentially may have narcissistic personality disorders. So these videos are to point out and to distinguish specific behaviors that are very common in people that have narcissistic personality disorder. Now, a lot of times, of course, when you're around people, people call you crazy. That's not true. This is you, you know, and we'll do that on another video, but you're re-victimized. And so you're made to feel like you're crazy, you're at fault, you know, but when you're growing up and this is what you're accustomed to, and you get into a relationship with this narcissist, you know, the narcissist is one that's going to say, you know, how is it possible that every relationship that you get into is exactly the same? You're always going through the exact same thing in all the relationships. So most of you start thinking like, man, you know what? He or she had a point. Every relationship that I ever get into exactly the same. Maybe it is me. Now, we can look at that in two ways, because sometimes there is truth in what they're saying. Y'all have to excuse me because like phone just going off. But sometimes there's truth behind it. Every relationship that you tend to get into seems to be or tends to be almost exactly the same. Abusive, you know, toxic, you know, and every time your friends or family hear, you're always going through the exact same thing. One thing is, yep, you have not changed. You have not changed your mind and understood your own value so that you'll understand what you will accept and what you won't accept. And number two, you haven't detoxed. Some of you are jumping right back into a relationship. Well, you know, sis, I just can't be alone. I got sexual needs, but your sexual needs is like playing Russian roulette. And when you play Russian roulette, especially with a pistol, you're going to get shot. Let me turn this volume down. I'm sorry, y'all. But sometimes what happens, not sometimes, but you play Russian roulette, or you play with that gun, you play Russian roulette, it's going to go off. The bullet is going to fall into the chamber and it's going to go off. You're not going to get by playing Russian roulette and playing with your life. You have to understand your own value. And the thing about it is that many of you guys jump right back. You haven't even healed. You still got the residue and the residuals from all the trauma you've ever been through in your life. Some of you have been into relationships. It's time to stop and say, wait a minute, maybe I need to take a break and I need to discover myself. You know, some of you guys need to stop concerning yourself with, I need to be with someone, because your identity is connected with being someone. And a lot of cultures and a lot of people make you feel like you're nobody unless you have a man on your arm, or you have a woman on your arm. Well, you're somebody when you get with that somebody, and you have to be somebody when you get with that somebody. Your self-worth and your identity is not wrapped into another person. You have to be comfortable with you. And some of you have jumped into these relationships, jumped into a relationship before you actually have the time to heal. You know, you still have triggers. You're taking baggage. You're mixing Louis Vuitton with Coach baggage in your relationship, and y'all walking around looking a hot mess. Don't even match. And true enough, like I said, some of the things that narc is saying is like, how is it possible that every relationship you get into, everybody's at fault, but you don't play a role in it? That is true to a certain extent, but how they're using that information, they're taking good information, or they're taking some factual information and they're perverting it with their, it's not even their truth, with their lie, to make you feel guilty for the thing. They don't take accountability, so you're feeling guilty over their behavior. Well, abuser is an abuser, and you don't deserve to be abused. At the same time, you still need to take the time to take accountability for yourself, to heal yourself. That's why self-talk is very important. And one of the things that I have disclosed before, even about myself, in the process of leaving a 22-year relationship, there were times, as some of you guys, you know, when you're leaving it, you're addicted. And so, you know, most people are like, they're no good to, I can't believe you would go back, re-victimization, but I can't believe you would go back. Why you keep going back to it? Because everything is not always bad. but the person themselves, you know that it's a toxic relationship. But if it was always bad, you wouldn't have been attracted to them in the first place. They look good, they smell good, they talk good. You know, you may have material possessions, they take care of you or whatever, but they are abusers. They mess up, they mess with your self-esteem, your self-worth. They make you feel like you're nothing. You'll never be anything without me. You know, all of this. And so you're in this relationship with this individual. You have not healed. You've taken the residue and the residual, and you have not healed. So you have these festering wounds. And so in these festering wounds, you're reinfecting the wounds by getting with another person. Sometimes you talk about stuff, and then it's not even you don't follow your own. You know, you talk about things to people and you encourage them, and sometimes you're a better encourager for other people than you are for yourself. So when I left this 22-year relationship, you know, it wasn't like I forgot all the fun things that I did and had, you know, and it was that cognitive dissonance, you know, the desire, like, man, the hard part, having to start all over again with nothing. You know, I lost 2 houses. I lost a beautiful car. You know, I thought about the vacations and the sense of humor, that the person was fun to be around, and the sense of humor and you know, the vacation spots and you know, the if I put my hand out to get something, I wanted something, I would get whatever I asked for, you know, computers and laptops and cameras and a certain car. I wanted a house and I wanted this. But the problem is the price that I paid to have it. There comes a price tag with that. And I had to talk to myself like, yeah, I got all this, but what is the price that I had to pay? How did I sell my soul to have these things? And my pride would get in the way a lot of times. Well, I admit it. At the time, you know, my pride would get in the way because I had all these things and people were looking at me because I had these nice things and I had this, but no one knew the price that I paid to have it. And it got to a point where I said, it's not even worth the price that I'm paying to have this. My self-esteem is jacked up. My self-worth is jacked up. You know, I'm a mess. I'm emotionally a mess. My children are a mess. I can't deal with this anymore. So yes, of course, you know, that, and then to have to start from ground zero, build a business, build yourself back up. You don't have the money that you once had. Now you have to be frugal. I've always been a frugal person. I'm not irresponsible when it comes to money. So I'm very frugal, but when it gets to a point where you're so frugal to a point where you have to deny yourself, and that was not something that I was used to doing at one point in time. Remember, I used to be in the military too. So both of us were senior ranking people in the military. So we had, you know, finances. I didn't have to, you know, I had to, you know, be frugal with the money and everything, but it wasn't like I had to make a decision, groceries versus bill, you know, child needs school supply versus me eating that day, you know. And so I went into a phase where sometimes I didn't eat for 2 or 3 days. You know, I had something to drink, had some fruits and vegetables, but I didn't eat a meal, and I sacrificed that to make sure that my daughter would eat. And so there were decisions, and think about it, at that time, I could have, I can just go ahead and accept what it is for the comfort of life, for the comfort, and sacrifice that. But then on top of that, you're also sacrificing your kids. So now your kids are watching what you're sacrificing as a woman. And I'm speaking to the women, you know, but men likewise, because your sons are watching you. Your daughters are watching the example that you're portraying before them. And so they're either going to get a man like you that's not willing to stand up for themselves, or, you know, the confidence of a woman comes from her daddy. And so if your daddy, you know, if you're a daddy and you have daughters and you have a narcissistic spouse, partner, or ex-wife or whatever, you know, those daughters, their confidence comes from you. And if you are a weak man, when I say weak, emotionally weak, where you can't stand up for yourself and make a decision, and sometimes it is hard because of the families that you come from, but in her mind, that's not what she's seeing. She's looking at, my dad is weak. My dad is emotionally weak. He lets my mom run over him. He lets my mom do whatever. So they're going to look for a man very similar to you that they can run over. But then daddies, when they get a fool and they try to run over this fool because that's what they're accustomed to doing, and this fool puts his hand on your daughters, then you want to get a shotgun and go look for him, you know, or vice versa. She's going to find a man that's going to abuse her. She's going to become, either she's going to be the aggressor or she's going to be the abused. And so even with moms, you know, your daughters are watching what you do. Your daughters are watching, like, is a man more important? Because really you're sacrificing yourself for a man. A man is a desire, not a need. You need to eat, you need to sleep, you need to have shelter, you need finances to support yourself. A man is a desire, not a need. You don't need to have a man, you desire to have a man. And there's nothing wrong with desiring to have a man or desiring to have a woman, desiring to have a partner. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you know that you keep doing the same thing over and over again, and you keep falling in the same trap over and over again, and you keep having the same relationships over and over again, you might want to back up. Hey, maybe there's something in my picker. My picker is broke. Something is wrong. I keep attracting because you have wounds that are still festering, that haven't healed. So you keep attracting the varmints or the roaches into your festering, unclean hole. And when I say unclean hole, that heart that has all them holes in it that need to be filled. Animals or varmints or rodents or insects find little dark caves and stuff to hide in. So what do you think is happening to your heart that hasn't healed? You have the wrong people that are attracted to. Do you know that there are some people that are only attracted to wounded people because they can get over on them, because of the fact that it's easy to manipulate them? So they're attracted. And as soon as you start talking, people can tell when you start talking that you're desperate, that you're needy, or like the kids say now, that you're thirsty, that you're desperate, that you have a low self-esteem. Is by the things that you say. And you don't even have to be an empath to pick that up. You can have a whole conversation. You can pick up how people talk to you, like, dang, you needy, you thirsty. Oh my God. And don't think that a narcissist can't pick that up. And so, yes, there's truth in what they're saying. You've never changed. So because of the fact that you've never changed and you've never determined your strength, your worth, and determine your self-esteem and what you will and will not accept, you keep attracting the same thing. And number two, it's still not your fault that you're being abused. So don't let a person put their, they don't want to take accountability of their behavior. Don't let them put that on you. And so when I talk about self-talk, I used to have to self-talk myself. And I used to remind myself. I had a good mentor, so I had to remind myself, oftentimes repeat some things that she was saying. First of all, you have worth. First of all, you don't deserve that. I don't care how many bad things you did in this world. I don't care how many faults you have. Nobody deserves to be abused and misused. Nobody deserves to be mistreated. Nobody deserves to be talked to like a dog. Why would you talk to somebody like a dog? You get around some of these narcissists and they handle you like they hate you. They look at you like in disdain. This is when they're are devaluing you. They look at you almost like in disdain. At one point, you used to be the most beautiful thing or the most handsome thing in the world. And then they look at you like with this disdain, like you stink, like this stink face. They look at you and when they talk to you, everything that they say is so disrespectful, how they say what they say. And then when you're like, why do you talk to me that way? What do you mean how I talk to you? I'm just telling you the facts. How do you want me to say it? I don't understand what you're talking about. You're delusional. No, you can sense that the way that they're saying what they're saying is with such disdain and hatred, and just they're ugly. And and it's almost like, how can I be like this? They treat you like you're the scum at the bottom of the barrel, like you're a catfish on the bottom of the sea, like a little sea roach, and no one deserves to be treated like that. I don't care how upset you are. I don't care if you have a bad day. Same thing I teach my kids, and the younger ones. And I tell them, just because you're having a bad day doesn't mean that you disrespect someone. Just because you're having a bad day and you're not feeling good doesn't mean that you talk to people any kind of way. And then we say, why do you talk like that? Watch your mouth. I don't know. What am I doing? That right there. That right there is the problem, because it's not what you're saying, it's how you're saying what you're saying. It's the tone, it's the inflection. Just like in the military, I used to have an ear to hear. So I have an ear to hear my leader. And so I have to listen. A lot of times I have to look at her face, to look at her facial expressions. I need to hear the tone of her voice. That's why text is not good. Online dating, you can't tell the tone of a person. You can't tell the rhythm, their facial expressions. So in the military, I was trained and I pay attention to facial expressions, rhythm of your voice, the inflection in your voice. I need to know, is this a 911? Is this an emergency? Are you calm? Are you giving me information? How you call me by my name? What you say and how you say what you say. And so I look at her facial expressions. I listen to the tone in her voice. I need to know, is this a 911? Is this a serious matter that we need to address? Where is she at? Is she comfortable while she's talking? Is she in a casual mode where she's giving information? So I listen to tone. I listen to inflections in the voice, because in the military, we're trained that way. The inflection of the voice tells you where they're trying to go. The inflection of the voice tells you, this is a serious command. This is a 911. This is a serious situation. We're getting ready to go somewhere. We're going in a certain direction. Let's do it. This is the last time I'm saying that, so we listen to the inflections of voices, because soldiers are dependent on the inflection and body languages. And that's no different than you being in a relationship with a narcissist, that you're paying, and they do the same thing to you. They do the exact same thing to you. They take something that we use and that is supposed to be used for good, and they use it for their own selfish desires, their own selfish needs. And so you're watching them, and don't think that, I don't care what they say to you, you crazy, you're delusional, I don't know what you're talking about. No, you're catching it. You're catching the tones, you're catching the voice inflections, you're catching the facial expressions, like the disgust on their face. And remember, there's another video that I did where I talked about micro expressions. Micro expressions are they're uncontrollable facial expression, muscle expressions, or facial expressions that you cannot control, nor do you even know that you're making them. So, you're talking to somebody and you have that momentary facial expression like that, and the person's like, why'd you make that face? Sometimes the person doesn't realize they did it, or sometimes they do. And it's the words that come out of their mouth, how they, no, I did not do that. No, I did not do that. So I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm telling you, I did not do that. So you calling me a liar? Well, they're telling you, yeah, I did do that. And sometimes they don't realize they're doing it. No, I'm telling you, no. What part of no don't you understand? Well, their body language is telling you. If you watch any FBI or like what is it, like any kind of criminal shows and everything, you have like those people that specialize in criminology and facial expressions and things like that. They'll teach you stuff like that, body language that actually tells on them. Well, a narcissist does it all the time. They just think that you don't realize they're doing it all the time. And so it's not that you're not catching it. It's not that but you still have to talk to yourself. Do you want to go back? Yes. It may have been comfortable. It may have been nice. You may have had nice cars, expensive shoes. You were the bomb. You had your $3,000 lace front wig, honey, and everybody thought it was real. And you got your nails done every week. Learn to do your own nails. Well, I was a cosmetologist. Learn to do your own nails, But the point is that you have to talk to yourself. You have to remind yourself of what you came out of. What is the price that you paid to live the life that you lived? Would you much rather have that material possessions? And some people do. Some people want the material possessions. So when they get coaching and counseling, they want you to help them change the person. The person is not going to change. What you're going through is what you're going to go through. It's a cycle, and it's going to keep continuing until you leave that cycle. Now, you think that the next person is going to have it better? No, they're not, because you trained them to be a certain way, and so they're just going to another level with what they're doing. And so you're looking on pictures. You're stalking their Facebook page. You're looking, and it looks like they're having a great time. It looks like all the things that you ever wanted to do, the vacations that they're going on, everything, but you have no idea the price tag that comes along with it, because everything they do it for a reason, and they do it because you owe them. And so everything they do is a price that you're paying. I much rather be free in my mind, free in my emotions, and start off at ground zero and have peace in my house and peace in my mind. And so that's the cognitive dissonance that you go through when you're leaving is but I missed this and I missed this. It's not even the person that you miss. The person made you laugh. Mine was a comedian. The ex was a comedian. I mean, he was just hilarious. I like to laugh. He liked to laugh. We were a fun couple to be around, but nobody knew the price that I paid behind closed doors, and the actress role that I had to take upon in public, and to defend him and to protect him and to cover him. But it got to a point where I really realized I was embarrassed to come around with him. I was humiliated. I didn't want to be with this person, because the more and more I was around him, the more I saw it was more disgusting to me. And so it got to a point where I had to remind myself when I was out, I do not want to go back to that. I want to be with someone that makes me proud, and that I'm proud of, and that they're proud of me. I don't want to go around somewhere where I'm embarrassed because people know how this person is and they know their personal life, because I do have a reputation to maintain because of the military status that I had. And so, I'm around the elite. And so people are looking at me like, you're around this guy, you're around this person. This person is a troublemaker, this person is a liar, and the people that he hangs around are very similar to him, to that or her, And so, yes, self-talk. You got to talk to yourself. You have to remind yourself. Sometimes you have to have an open conversation with me. Have a talk with me. Talk to yourself. Well, hopefully this has helped you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, Dr. Carmen Bryant, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. Make sure you check out my mentor's channel. It is Helen Sadler, Destiny Helper. Make sure you subscribe to her channel and share these videos. Somebody needs to hear it. You never know who's going to see these videos. You never know, who is going to get it. May be not this video, it might be another video where I was just laughing and joking on a live. But a lot of people, the grief, it kind of dissipates. They start to enjoy life again. Enjoy yourself. If you don't like yourself, why would somebody else like you? If I don't like me, why would I expect anybody to want to date me and like me if I don't like me? If I don't like me, I don't expect for you to like me. So now the expectation is very low, right? But if you like you, and it doesn't matter what anybody says about you, you like you, I like me, I don't care whether you like me or not. Matter of fact, I laughed at my own jokes. So I tell you all the time, though, I laugh at my own jokes. You don't want to laugh at my jokes, I'm going to laugh at my own jokes. And 9 times out of 10, people are going to laugh at me laughing at my own jokes. And then when they say, well, tell the joke, I'm like, it was funny in my head. So they're laughing at me laughing at my own joke, telling you how funny it was in my own head. And I just can't stop laughing. That's fun. That's a person that is really enjoying themselves, whether my jokes are stale or not. So you have to learn how to enjoy yourself. You enjoy you. I bet you sit around like sometimes I crack jokes in my head that I want to tell people, and it's so funny that I'm like, I can't even share it because it's not going to be funny when it comes out again. Or I practice on my daughter and she's like, it was funny when it was in there. I said, it was funny in my head. You had to have been there, you know, and you just have to enjoy life, enjoy your kids, you know, enjoy. You don't have to have somebody in your court. You don't have to have somebody with you. Find a good tribe. You know, a tribe, you know, when you have good people that have like minds and have been hurt, you know, hurting people hurt people, but not everybody is a narcissist, you know, and a lot of times you get around people and they remind you of the hurt that you've been through. And sometimes they're in recovery just like you're in recovery. The people that are recovering sometimes are just as bad as the abuser, believe it or not. But listen, there's a Calling All Empaths conference coming up on the 24th of October with Helen Sadler, Destiny Helper, as the host, and I will be her guest that day. You have a presiding prelate, a senior pastor, and then you have me as a clinician that is going to be there to talk to you about the empaths. You guys are very important. You're very relevant. It's only $80, $20 per hour, 4 hours. 4 hours on Zoom, and it's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you got to calculate your times from each region that you're in. But it's Zoom only. It's not going to be public. It's Zoom only. And you can register, at yourdestinyhelper.com. Those of you that are seeking coaching, I do offer coaching. You're welcome to contact me at drcarmenbryant@outlook.com. Look underneath my link. You'll see my email address under there. Email me and we can discuss my fees. I cannot provide you with counseling services if you are outside the state of Washington. However, if you are outside the state of Washington, you can always go to betterhelp.com/drcarmen. It is a sponsored link. It's not me who's providing counseling, but you get a discounted rate by clicking on the link. And if you're having financial issues, you know, let them know and they can offer you a grant to assist you. Some of you need counseling before you get coaching. And so you are welcome to go and check that link out. And, you know, when you're looking for and vetting counselors, you know, do you understand narcissist abuse? No. Do you understand domestic violence? Do you understand the psychological effects of domestic violence, severe domestic violence? Do you understand parental alienation? Do you understand PTSD? Do you understand trauma? Do you understand like lifelong trauma? Do you understand like lifelong, you know, the effects of lifelong domestic violence, even from the family of origin? Talk to them like that, you know, and ask them what they know and then listen to them and see what they have to say. And if, you know, every counselor is not a fit for every counselor. Like my videos is not for everybody, you know, so everybody is not a fit for everybody. Trust me, I'm not for everybody. And most people find that I'm not for everybody. I'm straightforward, but I'm not for everybody. So you just have to ask questions. And so do that. And make sure you check out my book. It's Unmasking, the Illusion of Perfection. You can find it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. Those of you that are out of country that are having problems with the orders, go to Westbow Press and they will send it to you overseas. Thank you so much for supporting me, supporting this channel, and supporting the cause. You know, we're trying to make a difference. So you guys have to find people that are relevant and that know what they're talking about. They're not just talking out the side of their neck and they're just not trying to get attention and trying to get your money. No, you need to find people that really know what they're talking about, that can change laws, that can change, you know, that we want to make a change. We want to make this recognize this type of abuse and how serious this type of abuse is. But we're talking about domestic violence. What we want to make people understand is not how the narcissist function, because you have a lot of people that have mental health disorders. But what you want to know is how serious the abuse is and the behaviors. We want to address the behavior so we can change laws, so we can change mindsets, so we can teach this in law schools so that you don't keep getting re-victimized in the court system. But we're going to talk about that on another video, the re-victimization. So hopefully this has helped. Remember, self-talk, I got excited. Self-talk is very, 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 very relevant and very important. Thank you guys for tuning in, and you guys have a great week and go be great.